Jacobs.
Only Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go.
Only
Jacobs gotta go.
Only by the organization and power of the Democratic Party grassroots in 2018 were we able to defeat the IDC and the machine of our own party's politics led by Andrew Cuomo and Chairman Jay Jacobs. And ever since, the chairman has been playing party politics with us. Governor Hochul, this last election was our party's wake-up call, and that call is coming from within our House. I know Chairman Jacobs to be a good person, a Democrat, and a successful businessman, but he is ill-equipped to defend our party against Republicans that are ascending in New York who are more than willing to use asymmetrical political warfare of domestic misinformation, propaganda, and insurrection to accomplish their New York political cruelty. New York voting rights expansion failed. New York Democratic Party gains since 2018 failed. Ability to define our party's message failed. But you know what passed? Not stopping conman Santos in the House, who's from Chairman Jacobs' district. That passed. Not stopping election deniers from going to Congress. That passed. Letting New York GOP redefine our legislative wins. That passed. This cannot happen anymore. This is not just rhetoric, folks. These are the facts. We need new leadership. We need to do better.
Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go.
We need a leader committed and capable of amplifying our wins, defending our common sense and compassionate legislation from right-wing false narrative attacks, and doubling down on what makes our party so great: diversity and equity. Every Democrat has a voice and needs to be listened to in our party. From ideas and energy that can come from anywhere, from county committee to our district leaders, all the way up to governor, we need a leader that can recognize this. We plead, Governor Hochul, in your historic win, to begin conversations with state committee members, myself included, of course, 71st Assembly District, and have a conversation with state committee members on party reforms, and join our search for a new representative of our leadership so we can strive to be the party that we are telling people that we are, and we truly are here in the grassroots. Local electeds, join our state committee in restoring the Democratic Party's contract with New Yorkers and amplify our message against the Republicans' politics of cruelty. And to the grassroots, keep going. Keep giving us your strength, because we need you. We will not give up. The call is coming from inside our House, Governor. We need to make a change for our party for the better. Thank you.
Governor Hochul, do the right thing. Governor Hochul, do the right thing. Governor Hochul, do the right thing. Governor Hochul, do the right thing.
And so with this, I'd like to give the mic to my colleague George and Ben, and to come up here to give you a representation of what we're going through and acting for.
After two abysmal election cycles, which were pointed out just now, having lost on common sense ballot initiatives to improve voter access and empower voter rights, after failing to defend congressional seats here in New York, we see the consequences. Republicans have control of the House of Representatives, putting the United States on the brink of losing its democracy from domestic terrorists who will stop at nothing to secure unending power for themselves. Nobody knows this better than Jay Jacobs, and he's here to show us exactly what's taking place in Washington right now. Jay, you want to come up?
Come on out, Jay.
There he is.
There he is. Hey, Jay.
Here's the House Gavel.
Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Thank you for that warm introduction.
I'm going to ask you some questions. Well, you know, my friends all call me Jay. My friends are Republicans and conservatives on Long Island. But you could call me Boss Jacobs. Right? What's the big deal? I mean, all these progressives and radicals are saying, I lost the election. did nothing in that election.
That's right. Nothing. You did
You
nothing.
did nothing.
I didn't campaign. I didn't take sides. I didn't get involved. Why blame me then? Blame the people who are progressives out in the street talking to voters, giving out leaflets. They're the ones you should blame. So, you know, what's the big deal about Republicans taking the House? I've spent my whole career empowering Republicans. For years, we didn't run anyone against them in a Long Island. Didn't work out pretty good. And me and my boss, mentor, Cuomo. I'm sorry, I can't. Andrew. We empowered the IDC. They ran the New York Senate. What was the big deal? They spent years, they blocked everything, did nothing. So what's that? And you know, they say, well, the Republicans are going to do this. What could they do? What are they going to do? Have an insurrection? Trash the place? Have white supremacists running around? That ain't going to happen, right?
Not paying their fare on the subway.
It already did.
So, you know, probably the worst thing what's going to happen is they're going to block all these radical ideas like raising the minimum wage or
We just want health care.
you know, health care and giving people money and for food and feeding their kids. We're going to worry about that? How many people are affected by that? Like 30, 40% of the population? We got to worry about the real important thing. The corporations.
Gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
In the words of wise men on the Supreme Court, corporations are people too.
Get out of here, Jay.
So, and you know, let me just say this. 2 years, it goes so fast. You'd be surprised how fast it goes. Unless you're hungry or need a house or need a job or, you know, health care. Well, then you got a little problem. But we're not going to worry about that, right?
Right.
So, I am really proud today to be able to acknowledge my contribution, giving this gavel to the new Speaker of the House of Representatives, whatever barbarian they elect. It's Mr. McCarthy for the next 5 minutes or something. You earned this. This is yours.
Get out of here. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go.
You've always been a good friend.
Traitor.
Thank you very much for your tremendous support of our caucus.
And you know what? You've got some good people, except that guy Santos. He's a little...
He's your congressman, Jay.
We've got some other members of our caucus, such as Donald Trump and other crazy members of our caucus. But again, thank you so much for your support and for making sure that we took over the House.
Okay. Are you related to that Senator McCarthy who was in there? All right. Have fun, people.
Well, I'd like to say who it was. I'm Nobles Crawford. I'm the state committee member for the 71st AD. And I'm so glad to be introducing a lot of our other state and also local New York City elected officials to have a little speech on what we're talking about here even some more. So I'd like to hand the conversation over to Senator Robert Jackson.
That's a real Democrat.
Let me thank all of the real Democrats coming out here saying that Jay Jacobs gotta go. And in fact, if this is his contract, here's his contract.
Yeah!
Tear it up! Because you don't deserve to be the leader of our party. We want somebody that's going to fight for everyone. If you can't even win your own district, then you gotta go.
Gotta go.
And so Nassau County, you are the county leader there, you have to go. I'm sorry, loud and clear. Jay Jacobs got to go. Understanding that we depend on the party in order to fight for all of us. And you know one thing? You failed. And you got a big F. So thank you. Bye-bye. Kathy Hochul, do the right thing. You know that you're a Democrat. If you're going to do the right thing, then we will support you. If not,
all right. And next, I'd love to bring up Senator Jessica Ramos.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I want to thank NYPAN, the Village Independent Democrats, and everybody who's here. You are a testament to the talent, the vision, the unity, and the promise of the New York State Democratic Party. But unfortunately, our current leader does not live up to any of these values and principles that we hold so dear. And it's not that just he messed up here in New York. He really did put us in a bad position nationwide. The Democratic House majority died in New York State on Election Day because Jay Jacobs killed it.
That's right.
He didn't do diddly.
You know, the defeats came here in New York as Democrats around the country were actually defying expectations. And we all know that that's inexcusable, that it's not right, but it actually does get worse because it's not just the fact that we lost, it's who we lost to. There would be no Congressman George Santos without Jay Jacobs.
That's right.
And that's why we're calling on Jay Jacobs to resign. I'm going to say that again. We're calling on Jay Jacobs to resign.
Resign! Resign, Jay Jacobs!
You know, I'm upset, I'm sad, I'm embarrassed for our party and for our state. We here in New York are used to fighting for what we need, for fighting for what we want, and as New Yorkers, we're going to keep fighting to protect our immigrants, to protect workers and our families from the devastation that will likely come from this Republican House majority. So I want every time that we hear George Santos in the news for us to think of Jay Jacobs. Because one would not be true without the other. And that's why this is not about ideology. Yes, we're here as progressives, but this is about having an effective leader. The fact is that Jay Jacobs dropped the ball, and he cannot remain our party leader here in New York. So Jay Jacobs, it's time for you to resign.
Jay Jacobs gotta go! Jay Jacobs gotta go! Jay Jacobs gotta go! Jay Jacobs gotta go!
I'm Ben Yee. I'm the state committee member from Assembly District 66 downtown. And it's my supreme honor to welcome Christopher Marte, city council member from District 1 here in Lower Manhattan, to say a few words.
District 1!
I think Jessica Ramos hit the nail in the head when she said Jay Jacob has dropped the ball. I'm a lifelong Knicks fan. I'm used to disappointing. Every start of the season, I have hope. I think our point guard is going to do well. But as the season goes on, they fail. And if they happen to make the playoffs, they drop the ball. That's the same thing that's happening to our Democratic Party. At the start of the year, at the end of redistricting, we were like, wow, we have a chance to flip Congress, to keep the majority. And what happened? As we played on through election season, we saw no action from our state leadership, from our party leadership. And when election day came, when the moment came for them to step up, they dropped that ball. And so we're here as activists, as elected officials, not just from downstate or New York City, but from all across the state. Say, Jay Jacobs gotta go! Jay Jacobs gotta go! Jay Jacobs gotta go! And this isn't going to be organizing for you right after the election. We will be here every single day calling him out because we're long overdue for change. Thank you so much. And he's got to go.
And next, we have Councilmember Julie Wan.
Woo!
Good morning. My name is Julie Wan. I represent Long Island City, Sunnyside, Woodside, and Astoria. There is no better way that I'll spend New Year's other than with you all, but it is heartbreaking to stand here to say once again, Jay Jacobs has got to go. We need him to resign. It is not okay, everything that my colleagues have said, but in addition to that, It is heartbreaking for me to stand here as an Asian American woman to see the Asians go with the Republican wave. We have lost too many voters who are of Asian American descent to the Republican Party. And that is because of his failure, that he has failed to meet the needs of the Asian American community or meet the needs of this time to say, we care for you, we hear your story, and we see what you need to do. Yet he has again and again dropped the ball. So I stand here with my colleagues to say Jay Jacobs must resign, and we need to have women of color in that seat, in this leadership, maybe Senator Jessica Ramos or anybody else. But we really need to have better leadership. So I stand with you in solidarity. Thank you to all the organizers, NYPAN, Village Independent Democrats, and everyone else for organizing on this New Year Day at Communities Resist. Thank you so much. Jay Jacobs has got to go.
Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go.
And without, well, a man that needs no introduction, but I'd love to bring up public advocate Jumaane Williams.
What's up, everybody? Happy New Year. Happy New Year. And Jay Jacobs got to go. That would be a great New Year. I want to be clear. Everything that happened was not Jay Jacobs' fault, but a whole lot of it was. And what he does represent, in my opinion, is how badly the direction of the Democratic Party is going. And that sits with a lot of people, but he is the face of it and has been for a while. And the minimum thing that we can do to change the direction is to change the face of the direction we've been going in. That's the minimum that we should be doing. And I gotta tell you, what's been scary to me when I saw a breakdown of what the party thought went wrong, it wasn't that they were not Republican enough. They're saying they have to be more Republican to move forward. That's the wrong message for this party. Every time we try to be Republican light, we don't win. Republicans are better at their own talking points. What we need to be is be better at ours. We need to lean into what we say we believe in. When it comes to equity, when it comes to justice, climate change, reforming our criminal system, dealing with guns, we are actually better in dealing with public safety. We have been for a long time, but for too long, we've been trying to sound like them. Let's sound like us. Let's talk to the communities that have been dealing with problems for so long, and the symptoms have been showing themselves in violence, which we can't excuse. But we do know communities that have access to the things that we've been fighting for. Simply affordable childcare, affordable housing, access to mental health and health services, access to good quality food, access to quality schools. The communities that have those things, we deem safe right now.
That's right.
The communities that don't are the ones that we deem unsafe. And believe it or not, they are the ones that have the most arrests, most police, and most law enforcement, most incarceration right now. And I say this because I want to be clear. Our law enforcement has a role to play. I don't ever want to take that away. So stop saying that I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is all those other things that we've been talking about have been missing for a very long time.
That's right.
And our party says they believe in those things.
That's right.
They want to push those things. Let's act like it. Let's get that message to the people because they want to hear it. They want to hear our plan. In absence of a plan, fear does crazy things. And Jay Jacobs and our Democratic Party, we lost the House.
That's right.
That madness that's going on right now in D.C. as we talk is the fault of New York State, and our party. I'm speaking as a member of that party. We have to do better. We must do better. We can't do that under the leadership of Jay Jacobs and people who believe that the answer is to be more Republican. We can't have that. It's a new year, new party, new chair. Let's go.
All right.
Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. So, We were talking about the strength of the Democratic Party's grassroots. Let's hear from some of our clubs that make us this way. I'd love to bring up the president of the Jim Owls Club. Alan, come on up here and say a few words, my friend.
I'm not here to insult Jay Jacobs, even though he's nothing more than a hack. A hackmeister. I've been around since the late 1960s, and I've lived through every Democratic chair in New York State. He is not a leader. He spends his time insulting us on the left, insulting AOC, insulting Jessica Ramos, insulting Julia Salazar, and commending those to the right of center and supporting the Democrats to the right of center in primaries before we even speak. Just like he did in Buffalo, going with the loser of the Democratic Party instead of India Wolf. He is a bad person. I cannot think of one issue that he has led the Democratic Party on. Right. Yeah, we got gay marriage. He's done nothing for the gay community. He follows as little as he can in support, and then he talks about the wonderful state Democratic Party. What has he done on choice? What has he done in his own backyard where he lost every congressional race and won with a serial liar that he did not uncover? Right. He is a danger to the Democratic Party, and he is no longer a Cuomo holdover. He is a Hochul appointment at this point.
That's right.
She could have gotten rid of him, and she must get rid of him.
Yep.
If you believe in equality, you believe that gay people and lesbians and all LGBT people and left-wing women and people of color, then you cannot go with Jay Jacobs. Instead of insulting us, why isn't he talking about people like Al Taylor, Assemblyman Taylor, who voted against the Women's Reproductive Rights Bill, who voted against civil rights for LGBT people in the Assembly? No, he's quiet, but he'll go after the left. Thank you.
So staying on our trip through grassroots Manhattan, I'd love to bring up the co-president of Uptown Community Democrats, Joanna Garcia. Up here.
This is simple. What I have seen in the past years is you have people who are leading this party who use the word left as if it's a bad word. Being left doesn't mean that we're radicalizing. It means that we're speaking for the people. It means politics from the ground up. And right now we have a leadership that listens to corporate interests, that listens to the top percent, and really ignores the interests of our people. I'm from Uptown Community Democrats. I am so proud to stand in unity with Inward Indivisible, with NIPAN, with all of them, with our public advocate, because it is time that they hear us. Hace tiempo, mucho rato, que nos tienen que escuchar a nosotros, porque solo voy a decir a las personas que hablan en español, porque la persona en español también tiene que estar en la política. La persona que nos defienden los derechos humanos, los derechos de las escuelas, los derechos de los envejecientes, tiene que saber que hay una persona que se llama Jay Jacobs, que no está hablando para los intereses de nosotros, y ya es tiempo que esa persona que tiene una trayectoria, que ha fallecido, que tiene que renunciar de su puesto. Necesitamos un líder para el Partido Demócrata que escucha y el pueblo. Y le digo a mi gente que ahora mismo Jay Jacobs no le escucha. Jay Jacobs tiene que renunciar.
Jay Jacobs gotta go! Jay Jacobs gotta go! Jay Jacobs gotta go! Jay Jacobs gotta go!
Mi nombre es Joanna García del Club Uptown Community Democrats.
I've been working for maybe 15 years to improve the transparency and openness and democracy inside the Democratic Party. And it is my fantastic pleasure to introduce one of the very first people I ever met in that fight, one of the strongest advocates in that struggle, one of the longest, hardest fighters I know, Lincoln Ressler, City Council member from Brooklyn.
I'm proud to be a city council member. I used to be a state committeeman, and I've seen up close the dysfunction and the deep-seated problems in our state Democratic Party. And it is as clear as ever that Jay Jacobs has got to go. We should be inaugurating the first black speaker in the history of the United States today and Hakeem Jeffries. But instead, New York shat the bed. We lost 4 congressional seats and every swing seat in the state. And if you look in Jay Jacobs' backyard in Nassau County, where he has been the chair of the party since before my hair was gray, you find that the county executive is now a Republican. The district attorney is now a Republican. The municipalities have all gone Republican. Congressional seat after congressional seat have gone to Republicans, and they have failed to do the basic due diligence to uncover crooks like George Santos running in swing districts. What we need more than ever in New York State, a state that has not elected a Republican statewide in 20 years, but did worse in 2022 than we have in decades. What we need now is a 62 county strategy. We need to get the grassroots engaged. We need to do organizing from central Brooklyn to the North Country. We need to engage New Yorkers in the values of our party, in our progressive ideals. We must lead. And we know, we understand, we have seen his record time and again. Jay Jacobs cannot do it. Sure. He is not the man for it. His values are not aligned, and he doesn't have the ability. He doesn't have the vision. We need a progressive Democrat to take our Democratic Party to where we need to go. It is time for Jay Jacobs to resign. Jay Jacobs has got to go.
And I would love to bring to you former Assemblywoman Yulene New.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Hello. Sorry, I'm a little sweaty. So first off, I just want to say thank you for all of you for gathering here today. It has been a very interesting election. We all saw some of the things that have happened, but I just want to say first and foremost that New York Democrats actually owe the entire nation's Democrats an apology.
Yes.
New York Democrats here in New York, we lost the congressional majority for our country.
Yep.
For our country. What Michigan did, we could not do. What Pennsylvania did, we could not do. What Minnesota did and Wisconsin did, we could not do. And that is because we did not turn out the vote. And that is also because of our leadership.
Yep.
Yes. Right now, we saw the numbers. The Republicans have registered voters at about, 3 million. They literally turned out almost every single registered voter. Democrats, we have double the number of registered voters, and yet we turned out less than half. What does that say about our leadership in our party?
Yep.
We need to make sure that we change this now. It is tough to see Nancy Pelosi step down as Speaker. It is tough to see that we lost our congressional House majority by just a few votes. It is tough to know that our congressional majority was lost here in New York State, where we are literally the pathway to our nation's majority. Here in New York, we have been the holders of our nation's majority. And we need to make sure to continue to help to make sure that Democrats can lead. Unfortunately, we did not perform the way that we were supposed to. While I was literally handing out leaflets, by the way, the leaflets were Working Families Party leaflets, not Democratic Party leaflets. We saw that most of the viz was also Working Families viz, not Democratic Party viz. I was the only person on the corner translating in Chinese. We are the party that says that we talk to our constituents. We are the party that says that we represent communities of color. We are the party that literally is saying these things, and yet, where is our party showing that we are actually doing the work? There was no translation for any of our literature. We were literally the only people out on the street, the Working Families Party, inside of Brooklyn, inside of Manhattan, inside of Queens. And I want to say that, just because we know that we have a majority of Democrats voting from the city, that doesn't mean that we are actually getting the majority of Democrats to vote in the city. Yeah. And we have to make sure that we are changing that now. That starts from changing our leadership. We have seen, as Jay Jacobs has given away our Senate majority time and time again to the IDC. And it wasn't until we were brave enough to step up, a lot of us here right now were brave enough to step up to say no more IDC, that we were able to stop the IDC and take a real Senate majority. Now we have Andrea Stewart-Cousins, who is our leader, and now we have a real majority in our Senate, but it took our bravery. And I have to say that these are the folks that are going to change things in New York. This is the Democratic leadership. This is the Democratic leadership that we have, and we are going to make sure that we are taking our state back, and we're going to make sure that our New York Democrats do not lose another election for this country.
All right.
All right, next up, we're lucky enough to be joined by one of the very first Reform Democratic clubs here in New York. Since the 1970s, they've been fighting to make the Democratic Party a more inclusive and transparent and active grassroots-based organization. So their president, Richard Corman, is going to come and say a couple of words about the work they're doing today and why what we're doing here is so important. Okay? Thank you, Richard.
Yep. Thank you, everybody. We've heard from all of these esteemed people about what happened here, but we don't really need to hear from them. We know what happened here. Each of us here is in the grassroots. Each of us knows what this party did and did not do in this election. I know I got one call from the state party over the course of this election. One call saying, hey, if you need any help, give us a call. Was there a plan? Was there any effort? Was there any organization? Nothing. Nothing came from the party. It had to be us. It had to be the grassroots. And really, we know we pulled this election out for the governor. New York City pulled it out. The grassroots pulled it out. The elected officials that did the organizing on their own, they pulled it out. Not the Democratic Party, not Jay Jacobs. Jay Jacobs has to go. We know that. He comes out with a plan. He's got all the numbers. You've heard the numbers. What is that plan? The plan is, well, we didn't turn the Democrats out, so we've got to look to the independents. We've got to look to the Republicans. Well, I've got some of my best friends are independents. Not that many, but some of my best friends are independents. What's the message? No. The message is, as Yulene pointed out, we turned out 40+% of Democrats. What kind of effort is that? What kind of organization is that? Well, he's got a plan. Well, his plan is a little late. And he's got to go. So we're here with all of you in the grassroots to make sure that happens.
Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go. Jay Jacobs gotta go.
All right, next up we've got a wonderful state committee member and president of the Central Queens Independent Democratic Club. There's a lot of words in the club name, but the point is, that she's one of the newest state committee members, and she's a member of the AAPI community organizing where we were just demolished in terms of votes because Asians are voting in droves for Republicans. We need to do so much more to engage the AAPI community, and Maria Kaufer is going to tell us a little bit about the experience that she's had in Central Queens.
All right, Maria.
All right, knock them dead.
Hi, everybody. The AAPI community is the fastest growing demographic group in New York State. Despite that, I guess I should use this, huh? No. Okay. All right, here we go. The AAPI community is the fastest growing demographic group in New York State. Despite that, our community still lags behind others in representation in Democratic Party leadership, in public office, and redistricting. As of today, Asians make up 20% of the New York State population, but there are not a single AAPI member of the New York State Democratic Party Executive Committee. This lack of connection to our communities and needs isn't lost on AAPI voters. especially in Brooklyn and Queens, and I'm from Central Queens, AAPI voters have begun moving in large numbers to Republican Party candidates, even though our on-the-ground policy objectives align with Democrats. Why? Democrats need and deserve a truly big tent party that is inclusive and accessible to all. This cannot happen until our party leadership commits to centering the needs of voters and our local communities instead of taking non-white votes for granted and then using AAPI people as a wedge between our BIPOC communities. Until that happens, AAPI voters and voters from all communities will continue to grow disillusioned with a party that expects much and gives little, even as their Republican opponents tear at the very fabric of our democracy. Solidarity is how our Democratic Party moves forward. Are you with me?
Well, that concludes it for us, and we're just going to end with these notes to you, Governor Hochul. Please change the Democratic leadership of our party. Ask for Jay Jacobs' resignation. Work with our state committee on party reforms to become more inclusive and equitable for all of the grassroots, for all of the working Democrats out there, and we will make New York stronger, and we will take back the House. Thank you so much for coming out to the grassroots. Keep going. Jay Jacobs gotta go! Jay Jacobs gotta go!